get going. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. We already have 74 people on the call. It's lovely to have you here. Welcome to the fundraising webinar. My name is Eileen Brandt. I'm the marketing manager for Grow. We are going to have a jam-packed, productive, and very inspiring session this afternoon. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. We have people from all over the country joining us. Ntando, she says she's from Eastern Cape. Talita, she says welcome and hello. Pearl is from KZN. Geraldine, she says she's from St. Francis HK. Welcome. Desney, she's from Hart Bay. People all over the country are joining us now. This webinar is also live on Facebook, so if you miss it, you can check it again on Facebook. We're also recording this meeting, so if you have load shedding or any other issues during the meeting, don't worry, we will send the recording and the slides tomorrow by email. Shireen says she's from Happy Hearts and she's joining us online. Welcome. Mzamo from KZN. Oh, the messages are going so fast, I can barely see. Bianca is from Rustenburg. Good afternoon. And Fahmida is from Cape Town. Daniel here from Pretoria. Yes, the whole country needs fundraising. That's for sure. Roseville Kitty Care from Pretoria. Welcome. And Melanie Andrews from Atlantis. It's lovely to have all of you here. Please know that our meeting is being recorded. We'll share the recording and the slides with everybody afterwards. So close your door if you can. Put your phone on silent. We know there are so many distractions trying to take your attention, but it's really important that we take some time to focus on fundraising and building on the lifeblood of many ECD centers, which is to do with cash flow and your community support. Let's get started. So our topic today is fundraising, and what I'd love to do is to start off with, I will introduce our guests to you. They have years of experience in fundraising and lots of practical examples and tips. Then we'll dive straight into the topic. We will look at different types of fundraising, examples and ideas, and specifically takeaways and tips that you can use from tomorrow and for the rest of the year. We'll also share some free downloadable tools that we have available. So if you don't have the Grow app yet on your phone, know that we'll refer to the app, and that through the app, you'll be able to download many resources, and we'll share exactly where and how to do that. And for those of you who don't know Grow well yet, and you're thinking, how else can Grow help my preschool? And we'll discuss that towards the end of the meeting, as well as our ECD Small Business Accelerator, which is an amazing new training opportunity for those of you who are ready to take your ECD business to the next level. On the call with me today is my boss, CEO of Grow HK Centers, Tracy Chambers. Tracy has had to raise a lot of money in her life. She knows a thing or two about fundraising, and she has prepared a lot of practical tips, ideas, and has also compiled a lot of information to go into our fundraising training course, which we will tell you more about later. Then our very special guest today is Steggy. Steggy is the daughter of Sarah Strauss, who runs Ravensmead Educare Center in the Western Cape. Steggy has over 13 years of experience in the accounting world. She's probably what I would call the right-hand woman to Ravensmead Educare Centers. And she has a passion for learners and also for food and nutrition and living healthily. She studied business management, and she's run lots of events, even ran her own catering company. So Steggy comes with a lot of experience, and who better to tell you a little bit about why and to inspire you that fundraising and developing your center is within your means than Steggy herself. So Tracy, I'm not going to allow you to introduce yourself. We know enough about you now. I think we'd love to hear from you, Steggy. Tell us a little bit about Ravensmead Educare Centers. Well, where did you start? What's been your journey? And how has fundraising played a part in that?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Like you know, if family business, or when your mom or father or even sister, brother is in business, then obviously you as children or family must also be part of the business, especially when it starts up. Then you must assist and you must help. And 2018, late 2018, Sarah, who was a teacher in Qatar, come back and say, but she also want the same type of education for our children in our community. And then there was a place he started with 2 children at a house, and eventually the community came to her and asked, is there no ways he can assist with the center that at that point of time was like a dump. And she went there, no water, no electricity. Most of the classes was filthy, and it wasn't pleasant for no children. People didn't like the place. So the place had a very negative thought in the community. And then she decided, and then everybody had to come aboard, all the family, father, me, myself, and whoever she could get.
The whole your whole family must now get
grasses.
involved.
Yes, because mommy is speaking, and now everybody must just get on board. So yeah, weekends wasn't our weekends anymore, because now it's grass cutting. It's just getting the place in order for children. And then eventually the grass was cut. It looked like something, but it wasn't there yet. And then eventually there was only 7 kids that actually, parents that actually trusted us. So the 2 of that was family members, and then obviously the other 5 was also friends. So it wasn't really community, but eventually as time goes, she was standing outside and then asked the people, don't you want to give me a chance? She was literally standing outside. Why are you taking your children there? Come, give me a chance. And yeah, eventually the health inspector came every week saying, no, this place must close. And she asked the health inspector, just give me till next week. You will see, I will make a difference. And so it went on. He visited the place last week and just said, Mrs. Strauss, I can't say, what did you do to this place? It's amazing. So every time they come, and they come with, say, this must be fixed, we try to fix it. Obviously, you can't wait for funders. You can't wait for people. You, at that point of time, you need to dig into your own pocket and try to fix it, because at the end of the day, your most important thing is your certificate that will actually open doors for you. So that is how we started. We started by working very hard, paint ourselves. It wasn't a pleasant place, but now we are in demand. We have a waiting list. So from 7 children, we now at this point today 120 children, 5 classes. 2 teachers in each class, so it's assistant and a teacher, all qualified. So from 1 teacher to 12 teachers, I think from 2019 up until now, I think it's really hard work and dedication. So the principal didn't receive any salary for the first, I think 2019, 2020, there was no salary for her. And eventually, since 2021, we decide that she must get the salary now. At the age of 63, she's still studying. She's doing a diploma at this moment. So every Tuesday, she go to class doing a diploma. So that is dedication. And obviously, we must just follow her. We can't stop. If she has something in her mind, then we must just follow. We must work hard, and there's no money for us. So we must just assist. So there's not that we must now get the salary because we're helping her. There's no way. We must just get the place in order. So it's a place, a haven for our children in our community. We're not in a fancy area. We're not in an area that don't get break-ins, that don't get people that want to steal or whatever. We're in a community that anything can happen anytime, but we alert. We also give food on a Tuesday and on a Thursday to the community so that they can actually look after our place. So before every week, the police will come and say there's a break-in. Since we give every week food to our community, they are the people that actually looking after the center. Our center is not perfect as yet, but hopefully every day we strive to get the center at the point where it is the best in our community. Currently, I don't want to break or say something about that. We try to be humble as possible, but I can say we are currently the best ECD center in our community. Hopefully we will achieve more and more every year with the grace of God. Obviously, we can't do nothing.
Amen.
When Sarah opened the bank account, the banker asked her who's a partner, who's a director, and she actually told the banker, but the director is sitting next to her, and he wanted to know who's the director. You don't see anybody with her. And then she said, how can't you see my director? My director is everywhere. My director is God. So with that, actually, she is achieving, with the grace of God, she is achieving everything. And we can say that that is the way how we run the organization step by step.
Incredible. What you also saw there is the school has fundraised for their JoJo tanks so that they can have water. You have fundraised for your generator so that you can have electricity, because currently when you started your center, tell us about your municipal bill.
Okay, so currently the center, when we started, I forgot to tell you that, no electricity, no water. So what parents want to put the child in a place where there's no electricity, no water? Currently, our center is the only center that have electricity when ISCOM decide to give us load shedding for 8 hours. So we're working on a generator in the mornings, especially in the mornings. And then obviously JoJo thinks, you can see we have green grass. So when Western Cape government said there's going to be a day zero, we didn't worry, because we have our JoJo tanks. So we have JoJo tanks, parents bring water, children drink from that time, bottled water. So yeah, so God know beforehand all this trouble that, and we are prepared for that. So we are prepared for day zero. We prepared for ESCOM's 4-hour load shedding. We don't, the schools close, but we are open during that times because we are covered. And that is only by the grace of God that we are covered with all these things. We have currently a bill. So currently we don't have that facilities, but that don't put us back. They don't put us in a corner to say we can't do anything. We're going, every day we're going forward. So we have a huge municipal bill because of other issues, but we're going forward. So hopefully that is the thing that we really, really want to sort out, so that we can give our children TV in the morning, so that they can open the tap and play with the water the whole day and mess in the water. Currently, they know how to save water because they are aware of our dilemma in our center.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, that will
be
that is
a great
incredible
achievement for us.
And so now you can see why we invited Stegi. She comes from a center with a lot of experience, and so when we talk about fundraising, she's going to start sharing some of those practical ideas, how they do things, and how they have achieved so much. Tracy, why don't you start us off a little bit with why we need to fundraise and where this is coming from?
Yeah, I think when everybody feels they need to fundraise, and I think we need to really step back before we get into the nitty-gritty of fundraising and ask ourselves, well, what are we fundraising for and why are we fundraising? And there really are sort of 3 types of organizations. The first one is an organization that doesn't have sufficient income coming in to cover its expenses. And sadly, that is the case for many ECD centers in South Africa. And the challenge there is that that means you're going to have to continuously fundraise for what we would call operating costs. So that is salaries, that is rent, that might be food, electricity. And so it's a specific type of fundraising you might need to do, because you need to be guaranteed every single month that money comes in. Otherwise, you can't pay salaries, you can't pay rent, and your ECD center will ultimately close. In other cases, perhaps your center has just enough money to cover its operating expenses, but there are months where it can be difficult, and you don't have any extra money to spend on improving your center. It's what we would call break even. And so in that case, what you might want to do is fundraise for things to reduce costs. So in this case, you might want to fundraise for a nutrition partner. You might want to fundraise for a discounted rental so that your costs reduce, so that you've got a little bit of extra wiggle room to cover, the difficult months, and to save some money for when things go wrong and for investment in other cases. So we would call that a kind of a break-even ECD center. And then there are those ECD centers that it can be a combination of those, but with those that are able to have sufficient income covering their expenses and really want to fundraise to continue to improve their center every year. And I think Steggy and Sarah have done that incredibly well, in that from having no outside play equipment to a really amazing outside area, no running water, no electricity, JoJo tanks. So it's largely often around infrastructure, equipment, additions to your center, such as new classrooms, etc. And starting with that as a starting point is really important, because it essentially defines your fundraising strategy.
Yes, absolutely. So knowing what your end result is, what are you working towards, is important, because the type of fundraising you will do is different in each of those cases. So tell us a little bit about these types of fundraising that you have for us here.
Yeah, I think, everybody tends to think of fundraising as, I need to get money in cash, hard, cold cash. But I think we want to just make sure that we broaden our thinking of what fundraising is. When I started our organization, we also had no money. And we started with exactly as Sarah has, family. Those are free services. Friends and fools. But friends is where we really tapped into people we knew, perhaps who could donate us a free computer, or somebody who had a business in a certain area where we needed certain products,
professional skills, for example.
Yeah, so fundraising is also in the form of discounts, in the form of volunteer support. You've got amazing parent communities that have perhaps all of these things that they can provide in some form. So really just to broaden the context of what we mean by fundraising as a starting point.
Absolutely. So, I mean, Steggy, for example, what have you been fundraising for in the last 12 months? What have been one or two big things that you wanted to fundraise for? You're on mute, Felipe.
Okay, so basically, as most of the centers know, the biggest expense is your salary, and you get worried at the end of the month. Are you going to cover that? Will you have be able to cover yourself and obviously your staff? So what we normally do around the end of the month, or just before the end of the month, we will actually do a fundraising just to cover maybe our salaries, and then obviously to put something apart to treat the children, because if the children is happy, the parents is happy. So that is what we normally do. And obviously to cut grass, because that is very expensive, our petrol expenses that we have, because we have a generator, and just to cover the small stuff that we know we can't wait on a funder, we can't wait on somebody to give it for us. We need to sustain ourselves in that way, because as you know, most of the funders don't fund salaries. They don't fund you to make your building nice. So that's why we put that in a kitty. So every time we do a fundraising, we put something in there for that purpose, and then in the investment account. So we have 2 accounts, one for our day-to-day running, and then just one for saving for salary. So we make sure that we have at least a month in advance salary. So if anything happened, like COVID, so when COVID struck, we had something in the kitty to cover at least 1 month's salary that we don't stress for. Obviously, the next month we stress, but then at least, you know, for 1 or 2 months, you don't stress because there's something in your investment account.
That's brilliant. I mean, those are 2 tips right there that I'm going to write down. The one is have a separate account for keeping your savings in, account that's not too easily accessible. And then say for most centers complain about June, July, or January and December, people taking the kids out of school early or enrolling them late. And the thing is, your rent and your salaries are still due. So you have to use those 19 months of the year to fundraise for those salaries. That's very good. Tracy, are there anything else that you wanted to mention here in terms of what to fundraise for?
Yeah, I think these were just a brainstorm of the types of things you might want to fundraise on the left for salaries, training, nutrition, educational equipment, transport. The dolphin is outings, a registration compliance, which is the fire extinguisher, graduation. Perhaps you want to fundraise throughout the year for your graduation ceremony. Books, security, we see a lot of a need. Maintenance, I think we don't necessarily plan ahead. Maintenance should be part of our costs all of the time, so that we don't allow our center to degrade to the point where it becomes so much more expensive to repair. And then we see a huge need for outside play equipment coming. It's expensive, and kids need that gross motor development.
Vicky, did you want to comment on that?
Yes, what I want to say is that if you budget, so you know more and less what your expenses is. So budget. If you budget, say, okay, this month my grass cutting is 800 rand. So you know next month more and less is going to be the same. So if you have a budget, keep to your budget, and then you know you can save, because most of the people say, I can't save, there's nothing to save. But try to, if you know you bought too much food for the 1 month, try to cut it a little bit, and then next month then you save a little bit. And as you save, it will come automatically, because at the beginning it's very difficult to save. It's difficult to keep to a budget. But if you discipline yourself and have a budget, all these things will be can be available for you. You can then at the end of the day give your staff a bonus or give your children an outing without paying almost anything.
Okay, brilliant. So Tracy, talk to us a little bit about the types of fundraising. I think, like you mentioned, some people think of just one type of thing, and then the next slide will explain how that fundraising type connects to what you're fundraising for.
Yeah. So once you've decided kind of what you're going to fundraise for, there are different strategies you can use for fundraising. The first one is what I would call center-based fundraising or direct fundraising. So this is where a child is going to directly benefit, and it's easy to get parents involved because, you know, every parent, whether they're rich or poor, wants to see their children happy and ideally in the best possible ECD center in the neighborhood. So that is a specific strategy that you would use for different types of fundraising, which we'll go into on the next one. The next type of fundraising is what I would call community-based fundraising. So this is widening your net. This means it's a fundraising strategy that would be what we call semi-direct fundraising. And it's where you can go beyond your center community, as in parents, to your community in which the center resides. And start involving people in community events. The next fundraising is what I would call individual fundraising. And this is, or another word for it is network fundraising. This is where the people you know and the people they know are really important. Really, everything I've done in my life has been as a result of building relationships from the day I was in preschool. I'm still tapping into those relationships to the time that I'm at now, and figuring out what those people can do to help you get to your end objectives. So it's about personal connections. It's about sharing your vision and letting it ooze out of you, so that other people want to be part of that success, and they'll introduce you to people in their network that can help you along your journey. And we call that social capital, really, really important. And then the last type of fundraising is what I would call donor fundraising or indirect funding. This is a little bit of the spray and pray, where you have absolutely no connection to the company or the foundation, typically done through an application form, and your application form is going to get on somebody's desk who's going to get thousands of other application forms. And it needs to be used very specifically for different types of fundraising that you're going to do. So we can go to the next slide, Helene. So what would we use center-based fundraising for? And there isn't in some cases for different things we could use two different strategies. So it's not a perfect fit, but we've just put some examples in center-based fundraising. Center-based fundraising, perhaps you could have events at your school, and as Sarah said, you can then store away some of that money, and that then allows you to give staff a bonus or cover the salaries in the difficult months. And parents are contributing to that through having fun events. Educational equipment, parents that can directly see their child is going to benefit from this event are more likely to reach into their wallets. Books, supplies, outings, and school events are the types of things that we can use, that we can raise funds for, and using a center-based strategy. From a community-based strategy, we could look at things like infrastructure improvements, probably smaller projects than building whole classrooms, perhaps gardening projects, maintenance projects, painting, restoring something, outside play equipment, and perhaps support for vulnerable children, where the community comes together and sponsors children who aren't otherwise able to afford the fees of your school. And then individual fundraising can be used for things like professional services. So that would be finding somebody who knows an architect, who knows a lawyer, whatever services you need for your center, expensive services that you can hopefully get for free, or things like product donations where you are offering prizes, you need certain supplies for your school. The people who know people who work in those companies might be able to support you there. And then the last one is donor, which is the grant applications, things like monthly operating costs. If you're really lucky to find a donor that wants to join you for the long term to support your center, teacher training, educational equipment, nutrition is often a common one under that, and then kind of an expansion of your center. So like the picture there, and as Ravensmead pre-primary have been able to get an investment in additional classrooms through a donor partner.
Brilliant. So I'm just looking at our time. Tracy, do you think we should go through these fundraising priorities? Do you want to talk about these?
Yeah, I think very, very quickly.
These are very please do.
I think sometimes our needs are overwhelming, and it's really about, we can't do, if we try and do everything all at once, we generally don't achieve anything, and we'll feel overwhelmed, and so will the people we're trying to extract money from feel overwhelmed. So it's really about going through a prioritizing exercise. Is once you know what your needs are. So the questions to ask is, what is your biggest challenge in your center? What is your biggest risk? And what we mean by risk, what could cause harm in your center? What could cause your center to close? And then you prioritize based on those two questions from the most critical to the least critical. And that will really help you streamline and focus where you need to focus your attention the most. And then once you have that, you need to ask yourself, what action do you need to take to fix your challenge or your risk? And ask yourself, how can you creatively overcome this challenge without necessarily going to it's always money? It could be volunteer support, etc. And I think Steggy and her mom have been extremely creative in how they've overcome the many challenges without hard cold cash. And then this starts to get you to your fundraising plan. Planning is so important. So once you know what those are, you can start to estimate how much will it cost to fix this? What other resources can you use other than money? And by putting that all down on paper, you've actually started the beginnings of a fundraising plan.
Brilliant, Tracy, because what you're telling me is also that you feel like you need to get going immediately, and everything is important and everything has to happen right now. But if you just take the half an hour to sit down and look at your challenges, and Tracy's prepared a lovely example here for us. This school has written their 5 challenges and they've prioritized them. The top priority was monthly expenses, and the 5th one was broken outside play equipment. And now you know where you can spend your energy. And then you've shown us here what the response could be, how much money they estimate they need for each of these. Just talk us through this example, because taking the time to do this is very helpful.
Yeah, so in this example, there were 5 challenges, and we worked out that if we did them all, that would cost 92,500 Rand. So the first question you need to ask before you go and write a donor proposal, well, can my ECD center raise this money? And so you do some simple maths, which is, in this case, there are 50 children enrolled in the center. If I had to take the 50 children and divide the 92, I would need to raise 1,850 Rand per year. And I can't see on my screen what that is.
154 Rand per child per month extra.
Is that what it says?
154.
Okay, 154 Rand per child per month extra. So your go-to position should be, okay, that's 154 Rand. Can I layer that into the fees? I know the answer to that is mostly not, but you've got to ask yourself that question. Perhaps you could layer 50 Rand a month extra into the fees to cover that cost. Perhaps you could have a non-refundable registration fee that can contribute to that. Perhaps you need to reduce that amount and be more creative about, perhaps you've got a friend who can build the walls for you, and you can take 12,500 Rand out of your expenses. So before you jump straight to fundraising, is ask yourself, are there creative ways where I can reduce this amount or find other ways to raise the money in a simpler way than fundraising? Because let's face it, fundraising is hard work. It doesn't come without risk. Sometimes you have amazing events and they end up costing you money. And so we need to be really sure that we need to fundraise before we go on the fundraising path.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm checking the chat and I'm seeing people commenting, and there's definitely a few comments about people asking how they can get their parents involved, how they can make sure parents don't just say, oh, I don't have money. So in fact, I think the next slide is all about fundraising ideas, which is people are saying, I need creative answers. I need fresh ideas. So here we go. Let's talk about some practical fundraising ideas. And Steggy, why don't you just start off by telling us, how do you get parents excited and involved? How do you make sure parents don't just say, I don't have money? What do you do?
So what we normally do is we plan a year ahead, so normally around October we will plan our next year. So then right at the beginning of the year, when everybody is still hip and everybody is still positive, we will have our meeting, our parent meeting, And then we will give them all the ideas, and we are positive. So if you're going to be negative over your idea, or your teachers is going to be negative over your idea, then obviously how can your parents be positive about it? Tell your children every day. So your children, they are they will bug their parents to be part of it.
Brilliant.
So a calendar. So what we have is we have a calendar and indicated all the events. We indicated the term events. So even our themes and the songs. So we make it interesting for the parents so that they think this is not just for money. So we will put all the extra stuff in the calendar so that parents can see what is my child doing, what is the Chris is going to do for the whole year, so then they can also plan. Don't try to have an event 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the time, because it's not going to work. Parents will give you the answer, but I don't have money. I didn't know about this. Why are you sending only this now? So try to do your planning a year ahead so that you can give your parents a calendar or some form of notice so that they know in advance. Obviously, there's parents that don't have money, that don't work. So we use their skills. Like we have some ladies that is good in draping or catering. We will ask them, don't you want to provide your service? When we have a bride, the daddies that don't work, we will ask them, come make the fire, come help us, come assist us. And what we normally do, we try to give them like a daily rate for that day. For their service. And then obviously they are now so positive into it. They want to help every time. And they now also try to spread the word as well. So what we do is we make the parents involved. We, as you can see on our Facebook page as well, we make our teachers involved, because we will tell them, okay, this is your target. So if you reach your target, there's some motivation for them. So then we appraise them maybe with a lunch or whatever. So try to make your teachers and your parents involved by engaging the whole time with them. Make it excited. You must be the person that is actually positive of your idea. Do some research and see what is working in your area, what is coming up in your area that will actually help. So what we now, our next event will be like a unwind. So we know most of the parents is young. They're not middle age, so it's still 20s, 19s, then obviously late 30s. So they like to do a wine tasting and stuff. So we bring it to the center and actually give it to the parents. So check your area, check your surrounding, what is popular, and engage it for next year. Don't try to do it now, because you won't have it all available now, but plan ahead, see what was the trends for 2023 and implement it in 2024. Might be late, but maybe your area they didn't do it, like the color picnic, stuff like that. Try to be more involved with your parents. Don't try to hide stuff for your parents, because if they're more involved they are, the better they will assist and help you.
And tell me, so for example, you look at the calendar ahead, you look at what dates are coming up, Mother's Day, for example. Do you, are all these themes around fundraising, or some of them also just around fun? And how do you look at the timing, the dates, and how you plan your events?
So the beginning of the year, Valentine's Day. So this year it was the first. We are lucky to have a nice big play park. So we try to save money, not to get a venue. We use our own venue. So we had the open air video night, and we actually invited the kids as well. So you play a movie. The expense is not so much. If you have a projector, you can use a projector. If you have a big TV, so then the expenses is to the minimum. So what we did is we had Valentine's Day. So we know parents is keen, because they're still very young. They're keen to spend on Valentine's Day expenses. And then obviously a sports day, where the parents, we have a section where the parents take part. And we know all the children take part. So if all the children is there, we know the parents is there. So that is also not expensive expenses. So we know we make a huge profit on that. So we make the price minimal. So if the price is minimal, you get more people to attend. And then obviously, if you say your target was 7,000 Rand, then it's easy to make it because you didn't ask 100 Rand. Because if you ask 100 Rand, people keen to say, no, I don't have money. But if you ask 10 Rand, you get more people, more family attend. And at the end of the day, your event is a success. It's not always easy because you don't get, if you people that fund you, you don't get sponsors and stuff. So it's stuff that you get out of your own pocket. So you must use what you have in your centers. All the stuff that we normally do is our teachers' creativity. What is in our center. We use the wood, we use the tables, we use everything that we can use to make it less, the expenses obviously less. Then obviously Easter hunt, it's a free thing for the children. Then we tell the parents, okay, we're going to have an Easter hunt. Children must just dress up. So there's no fee. So then the parents will keep that in mind. They didn't charge for that. We will now and then, if we get something, we will give it out to the children and just put it in the children's bag. Parents appreciate that we're also giving back, and it's not,
You're not just
they
asking.
giving the money, they must give the whole time. So if we give it, then we say, if you don't need it, pay it forward. So that is how we teach our parents as well, that if they get something, give back. If we get something, we are giving back. So we try to balance it out, not to ask the whole time for money because it drains people, it drains the parents. And if the parents need us to do something extra, we tend to do it because we know in the long run, we also need the parents. And that is just how we try to balance the fundraising and stuff as well.
Lovely.
So we know it's Mother's Day. Every year it's going to be Mother's Day. Every year it's going to be Father's Day. Every year you have a Bride Day. Every year you have a Valentine's Day. And obviously, end of the year, you have, everybody is happy and chappy again. And then we have an outdoor karaoke. This year we're going to try to do an outdoor gospel extravaganza. It didn't happen in our community yet. So stuff like that, we try to see and look around what did the other person do, keep it in our mind, and then implement it for the next year. We don't try to take everything at one time and try to implement it immediately, because at the end of the day, it's going to be chaotic for us, and then we're going to feel that we losers because we didn't achieve what we want to. So we try to take it in and implement it in phases into our center.
Okay, you can, I hope everybody's writing down so many notes because Stiggy is sharing some great notes with us. In fact, if anybody is on Facebook, you want to follow them, they're called Ravensmead Educare Centers. I don't know if any of my colleagues can quickly hop on Facebook and share that link. Maybe you can follow other great ECD centers on Facebook, and they will inspire you. So Sticky, you've shared some great ideas of parent involvement, teacher involvement, and community. There's also many of you who are thinking about writing proposals. The National Lottery is open now, you know, calls for proposals. And Tracy, you've written a lot of proposals. Just give us some tips on what to not do and what to do when we're writing that proposal to that company or to that foundation.
Great. So remember, your proposal is going to land on somebody's desk who's going to get another 1,000 proposals. So you need to stand out from the crowd, and just some do's and don'ts. So in the do's, you have to start with why. Why, if I was reevaluating your proposal, why must I pick you over somebody else? Because there's only so much money, and they're going to pick 50 out of the 1,000 that they're going to put in the yes pile. You need to share your vision. I think Steggy brought this over beautifully, even with parents. You need to be excited about your vision. A funder wants to fund you because they want to be part of something good, not just solve a problem. They want to see the end result is something better, and that they had a hand in that. So Focus on the positives. So we all like to, go talk about all of our problems, but actually focus on sharing that in a very positive way. Motivate specifically why it's your center. And in this case, Sarah, Steggy's mom, is extremely persuasive. I had to decide whether we were going to fund her. I couldn't not fund her because I believed in her. And I believed that she gave me such assurance and was trustworthy that it was a safe bet. Because remember, a person deciding on funding you is accountable to their bosses behind the scenes. They want a successful donation. They don't want to make a mistake. What you shouldn't do, and I see this a lot, we get letters ourselves, and is do not play the victim. Please, sir, you must fund me, because if you don't fund me, children are going to go hungry. I think it's manipulative, and it often shuts people down, in that it's not positive. Don't be vague about your end result. You must fund me because I need money. Well, that's
because
really
my favorite, it's children are so important, and that's why you must fund me. Well, I mean, the church could also say that. Any organization could say that. Why is your ECD center important and this investment? Yes.
Yeah. Show the end user that you have a plan, that this isn't just an idea, and if you get the money, you do it. You actually have a plan. You've got quotes. You know how much it's going to cost. You've got a picture of what you want to do. You know that you need five months to do it, etc., so that they feel confident that their money is actually going to go to the things that you've asked for. Don't badmouth other people. In other words, show yourself up against people. Stand on your own and be confident that you are the right person to fund. And don't be unprofessional. And unprofessional comes in silly ways. Number one, spelling mistakes. Use your trusty friend, Google. ChatGPT these days will give you a beautiful fundraising letter. The way you write your letter needs to sound professional, because it really it talks to whether you are going to take care of their money, and whether you take your whether your ECD center is professional and well run. Comes through in the way that you write. And if your writing isn't great, get a friend to help you, get somebody else to spell check the letter, etc. From a funder point of view, understand who's going to read your proposal. Think about what she or he might look like, what age they might be. And at best you can, try and personalize your communication, know what they fund and don't fund. Do not send a letter to a funder that only funds, STEM cell training for an ECD center. You're wasting their time. They're busy people. They're going to get irritated, and you are you're wasting valuable time. Ideally, if you've been referred by somebody, mention that referral in a cover letter. It really helps. Somebody else trusts this person, therefore they must be trustworthy. Do not use a standard template for fundraising. At best, personalize it. And as I said, do not target the wrong funder. And be clear what you're fundraising for. So coming back to the earlier slides, sending out general letters, please sir, may I have some money, will not get you funding. So be specific. We need fundraising for a jungle gym. This is how much the jungle gym is going to cost. These are the suppliers we're evaluating, and with your money, this jungle gym will be in by next week. And even have a picture of somebody else's kids playing on a jungle gym they have, so they can actually see what we call the end result. And people want to buy into that. So that really would be our top tips for fundraising from donors. Oh, Helene, you're on mute.
Oh dear, I'm talking to myself. I wanted to say thank you to Siggy Weber on the chat. She says that they do a jumble sale once a term, and that really works well. Great ideas. So, I mean, Steggy has mentioned Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, outdoor movie night. You've mentioned your events where parents come and relax. I know that you host a fantastic Grandparents' Day. Many people forget about Grandparents' Day. That's a great one to work on. There are definitely a few comments about raffles. So I want to go into the next section and maybe we can talk a little bit about a raffle. For those of you who are interested and you need some more fundraising resources, the Grow app is your superpower. It is your one-stop shop. It is everything you need in the palm of your hand. So if you have the Grow app, and remember the Grow app, or the Giraffe app, is for free to any ECD center owner. As the owner, you download the app and you create your school's account. In this app, you are managing all your administration, your reporting, your compliance, and there's a specific section also where you can download free resources. There are a few downloadable resources for you in the marketing category. So go to marketing, and there you will be able to download a raffle advert example, this lovely little pink number here. And this is editable in PowerPoint for you. You could change it from an Easter raffle to an Eid raffle. You could change it from an Easter raffle to a Christmas raffle. This is a lovely template for you to use, as well as a raffle sheet example template. And these are all editable. You can change it with your school's logo and your details. We've also designed a movie night poster example for you. Again, this is editable in PowerPoint, so you can download it for free from your phone and edit it to suit your event. There are also fundraising letter examples, letters to parents and letters to donors, and lots of downloadable examples of other letters people have written. So feel free to access those resources. In fact, speaking of fundraising, for those of you who are getting the DSD subsidy and you are needing to report either to DSD or to any of your other funders on your learners, your demographics, number of learners in attendance, your financials. If you're using the Grow app to do your daily registers and to capture your income and expenses, remember you can download those as reports or as Excel spreadsheets. Perfect for your fundraising, reporting, and even your donor applications. Sticky, did you want to mention something on that? Are you using that?
Yes, it was so great. So it actually, you don't need to have all that files. And now if you need to do your application, go through one by one. So you just export your file in CSV, make it usable as they wanted, and then take you not even a day to get all your information. So a year's information is just exported into one file, and there you go. It was, for me, it was brilliant. I didn't know this beforehand, and then Sheila, one of Grow's managers, told me this. So I'm so grateful for that. So it's a really great app. You don't need to look for other resources on other platforms. Everything is there. Songs. It's really amazing. I just love it. Yeah.
So glad. So Sticky, can I tell?
Just on something that Tracy said about emails and sending emails, try to create your own center's email address, and obviously a Facebook page, not in your own name or because people want to see this is a legit center. So if you have your own email address, your own Facebook, if you can afford or have access to a website obviously, and a bank account into your institution's name, because that is key points where funders actually look at, is this a trustworthy? They then have their own personal bank account. So how can I trust that this funds will actually go to the correct person? So rather go open a bank account into your institution's name. If it's a sole proprietor, the bank can open in it the ECD center's name. And obviously Google is free. Create your center's email address at Google, and that just make people more likable to actually fund you, give something back to you. Yes,
it is so true, Sticky. Those are all signs that we can trust you. In fact, for those of you who want, if you go on Google Maps, and you want your center to be listed on Google Maps, you can definitely do that. And on the resource center, again, in marketing, there's a guide how to get your center loaded on Google Maps with your center's number, your center's email address, your opening times, your closing times. All of those show that you can be trusted, and it also makes your center easy to find if the people are looking for centers in your community. I can also say that when centers are on the Grow app, it helps us to refer other people to them. So, Stiggy, what you don't know is that Tracy and has been hard at work also preparing a new fundraising training course for us, which is free for anybody on the app. So if today has really made you excited that fundraising can be a part of your center's journey in the next few months and in the years ahead, very soon we will launch our fundraising training online. So we will send everybody emails. It'll be on our social media as soon as it's ready. We're busy polishing it up now, and that course you can access for free. It's also data free. So don't worry, we're not going to eat up all your data as you do the training. You just need a little bit of training to log in. That's basically something coming up. Some of you were asking, give more examples. So here is a lovely calendar with special days. Look ahead and you can see Mother's Day, Father's Day, Youth Day, Mandela Day, Grandparents' Day, Women's Day. So many days and opportunities for you to build something creative. Stiggy, I loved your idea for Bride Day in September. What do you do for Bride Day? Can you tell us?
Okay, so we have a Heritage Day. So last year, the children, every class, I think somebody asked, how do you involve your teachers? So what we do is we give every event, we have a coordinator, a teacher is a coordinator, so they will plan it. They will be responsible getting the tickets out, motivated the parents, market the event. So they're in charge of the event, and they feel very involved and very special because they can now do or host their own event. So last year we had the Heritage Day. So each class was like a competition. The parents dress, the parents give different culture foods, and it was brilliant. It was a free event, so we didn't charge because obviously we made in our other events, we keep something behind to host this event. So this is how we also try to tell people, look, we're not just there for the money the whole time, just money, money, money. So that is how we host our Heritage Day. This year we will have an outing because people like to go out. So we will have a beach outing. We get the bus, people pay the bus, and obviously on the day they will be responsible for themselves. We will also cater for maybe make a braai hamper. So beforehand you order your braai hamper, and then we will give it to you if you don't want to. And then obviously have a community braai on the beach or wherever we're going to ask. So that is this year's fun for Heritage Day. The one lady asked, she's living in a rural area, how can she do funds?
Yes.
If you're in a rural area, try to do a tour. So bring your people to town or get the town to the rural area. And obviously there's some exciting stuff to do in your area to see. So do a year in advance tour, because I know most of the people like to take a bus trip. Sun City, Cape Town, Knysna, Mossel Bay, wherever. So do a year in advance, then you know every month the people pay off. Most of the hotels and events people like to have big groups. Big groups get discounts. So this year we have a raffle for a weekend away for a family. So the kid that bring the most collect list in, that kid will get a weekend away for 4. And then obviously the second one will get a Bucks Play Park treat. And then the third one, a drive around the red bus in Cape Town. So that is how, because we know we're going to make more than what the actual expenses is. So if we get a funder to give us that weekend away or so, then obviously the profit is bigger. But
and how do you decide?
Just profit driven, then that you forget that have fun in every event that you create.
Yes, yes. Tell me, how do you decide what amount you're going to charge for the raffle? So like, is 5 Rand too little, 10 Rand, 50 Rand, 100 Rand? What should we think about when we're setting the price for our raffles?
So obviously, you know more or less what is a weekend away. So then you say, okay, if a weekend away is 2,000 Rand, you can't charge 5 Rand for a raffle, because then at least your raffle must make 400 Rand. Depends how many children you have in your center. So you work it out, how many children you have in your center, what is the cost, or what the total expense will be. So if everybody bring one, so then you see, okay, so I'm either going to break even, or it's going to be, I'm not going to make a profit. Then you see how you implement your price. So check
Tracy,
how
Tracy
many
is
children,
smiling. She's loving
what is
your ideas.
yeah, so what is the expense of the raffle, and then you see. So because for cake, now you charge 20 Rand for a cake, but the cake's value is 50 Rand, so it's not fair, and then you will get parents that can complain. So next time they won't support you, because your price and the value that you give them is not on average, or it's
Yes,
totally way out. So
yes.
rather check first the price, and then you check the value that you're going to add. So try to the value always be more than what you're going to charge. So that's why our events, it's normally a success, because we try to put extra in to make it more presentable for our parents. So then the event already for the next event, it sells itself.
Peggy, I can't believe it's 4 o'clock already. I feel like there's still so much more to talk about, but that has been very, very helpful. For those of you who can't stay on the call and you need to go, I know Tracy had to drop off. She has another meeting now. For those of you who need to leave, thank you very, very much for joining us. Stiggy and I will stay on the call just for a little bit longer, but I think even she has got load shedding now. So we'll see how it goes. We'll try to wrap up. But remember, all the slides and the recording will be shared. I just wanted to, so we have a slide here on planning a successful event. Steggy, you also mentioned to me that when you planning is so important, and you involve your whole team. For those of you who are thinking, oh, my teachers will never get involved, my parents will never get involved, start small, because remember, now you are changing, you're shifting gears, and the more people you can get to back you and support you, you don't want all the pressure on you all the time. And sometimes I think you as preschool owners, you're the CEO, the chief everything officer, and you feel like everything is yours. Okay, let me just check here. Are we still on the call? Okay, so and then Steggy mentioned to me that she also, after the event, every Friday has a meeting with her staff where they look through the results and they look at how they can improve in the next time. For those of you who are interested in how Grow can help you even more, I just wanted to touch on this because there are a lot of new people on the call who might not know about Grow and how Grow ECD can assist you. We equip and we connect ECD businesses like yours with skills and support and resources so that you can provide 5-star early learning to the children in your care. And how we work with preschools to support you is, number one, the fastest way to get going, you can start today, is through our technology platform, our free app. This is a free digital tool that which includes mobile apps for you as the owner, for your teachers and your parents. So as the owner, look for the app called the Grow Giraffe app. We call you the giraffe because you have the overview. You can see everything that is happening in your center: administration, learners, finance, HR, everything that's happening. And from your app, you can manage your administration, you can access training, resources, all those policies and procedures you're looking for. You can keep track of your finances. You can do your budget. If you don't know about budgeting, you can do your budget in the app. You can, there's so much in there, including the resource library with lots of free downloadable tools. If you need help with this app, and you're thinking, oh, technology, Don't worry. We have a help desk. It's just a WhatsApp away. And we host training sessions if you need any help. So we've already shared on the chat the help desk number. You can WhatsApp us, call us, email us during office hours, please. And we will be happy to help you get started on the app and really use it to run your preschool more professionally. Save time and effort so you can spend more time doing those important things like fundraising and managing your team and making sure that the learners in your care are getting great education. Then for those centers who are based around our offices, specifically in Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Durban, we have an ECD small business program. And this is where we work with you and to improve the quality of education in your classroom through our curriculum, classroom kits, teacher training, and education mentoring, as well as developing your business mindset with business training, access to low-cost finance, business mentoring, and registration support. And finally, selected centers are invited to become partner centers, such as Ravensmead Educare Center, which is a proud partner of Grow, and they are co-branded with Grow. The app, I've mentioned more about that, includes all these amazing tools, services, all to make your load lighter. And finally, what I want to tell you about is our ECD Small Business Accelerator. If you feel like you want to start running your preschool like a business, you want to develop your head for business and your heart for children, you want to take it to the next level, the Accelerator is a 6-week boot camp happening every Friday or Saturday. You can choose which one suits you best. And here it's hosted in Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Durban at our offices. And applications for the next cohort starting in June is now open. It only costs 600 Rand, which is way less than we even spend on it. And you'll learn personal leadership, managing your money, how to run your preschool like a business, how to calculate your school fees, or how to achieve sustainability, and what it takes to provide quality early learning. Talk about getting registered, using the technology to work smarter, and how to access ECD finance. So all of this is available on our website. And you can also speak to us on Facebook, and we'll connect you with the right links and the application forms. Let me have one final look at the chat. Thank you very much, everybody. Stiggy, what would you say are your final parting thoughts?
Okay. Be positive. Enjoy what you're doing. Don't look at the other center. Try to be the difference in your area, in your center, and always put a smile on, even if you don't. Always put a smile on, always welcome everybody, no matter how they look or who they are, because you never know if that is the next person that will actually spread the word of your center. So try to be positive. Try to do your best. If it didn't work this time, stand up and obviously try again, but never give up. Always try and strive to do it better every day.
Brilliant, thank you. From my side, I can only say that I pray for every single center owner. We salute the amazing work that the ECD community is doing for the children of our country, for the community in which you serve. We know that this is not easy work, and we strive to keep doing our best for you. We hope that God will bless you, especially you also, Steggy, and the Ravensmead Educare Centers. And thank you very, very much to everybody who has joined us and support us. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.